everybody, and welcome back to the Empire Let's Play series. Today we're going to start off the episode by going to the Nether and getting a bunch of blackstone so that we can finish up our Mesa Village build. And then the other thing that I really want to do is something I said we were going to do last episode that we didn't, and that is make a banner for those poor people down in Marsalis. We created a unique banner for each village except for Marsalis. Somehow we forgot them. So today I definitely want to make a banner for them and run it down to that village. But first, let's run over to the Nether, round up a bunch of blackstone, and finish up our Mesa Village project. All right, tie up our horse. And run into the Nether. Last time we were over here, we started at the very top, just kind of clearing out all of this material here and a lot of the structures. So we're going to continue our way around here, and we'll just keep digging all of this out. Now, like I said last time, there are still some piglins wandering around here, so we need to be careful of that. Well, we almost got all the way around the top level here. Just a little bit more to clear out, but I do have a full inventory of blackstone, so we're going to head back to the overworld. One interesting thing is this space is getting big enough that ghasts are spawning in here, which is really interesting. You know, once we clear all this out, potentially we could kind of optimize it to do like a ghast farm if we wanted. One thing at a time. We'll figure that out later. Hello, wandering trader. What have you got? Small drip leaf? Nothing I need. Let's make our way back over to the Mesa and talk about today's build. So today I want to finish up the Mesa Village by building a castle into the side of the mountain. And I want the castle to look really old, really ruined. So we're primarily going to use blackstone as our building material. And I think the contrast of the kind of ancient looking castle against the colorful ancient mesa will be a really neat kind of different look. So we've got all the blackstone that we gathered up today and all the blackstone we gathered up previously. I think that's going to be enough to get us through our project here. So eventually we're going to have a road coming up here, and this will be kind of the main entrance. And then here, where all of this kind of sandstone is sitting on top of the terracotta, I think that is going to be how big the castle is going to be. And I do want it to go a little tall as well. I don't really have an exact plan. I'm just going to kind of feel it out and see what looks good. So let's get to work. And there we have it. Let's talk about the good parts, the bad parts, and the regrets. So the good parts, I think it looks really good. It looks like a castle. I have it, with this nice turret here. There's a turret back there that's starting to collapse. We've got some of the black stone laying around. It's like this really kind of rough exterior. I think it looks really cool, really old, which is what I was going for. Around back, we're all done here. We get uncomfortably close to the spiders. Nothing really fancy, just a big wall back here. And then on this side, we've got the big old turret. That's pretty much it. Also did some work on the inside, plus there's some missing bits here. Specifically, there's no road still, and as we walk in, you can see this is pretty unfinished. We need to figure out how to connect the black stone up with the terracotta. So we'll do that at some point. Inside here, did a little bit of decorating. I went ahead and put signs up for the few villagers I have. I still need to get more workstations. Put some lights up so that looks a little more official, and I think it looks pretty great. Now, as far as regrets, the only regret I have is I kind of wish I would have used some different materials besides blackstone. Here where I did this little bit of a basalt accent, it really pops. Up here you can see some of the regular blackstone as opposed to the blackstone bricks, but it's not really contrasty enough. When I'm standing still, it's hard to tell that there's two facades here. It's only when I kind of move back and forth where you can see that this sticks out further than that. And if I had maybe some deep slate accents along the edges, that might make it pop a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe I'll play with it a little bit, but otherwise I think it's really, really great. The blackstone is just really unnatural. The only place you find it is the nether. And so, maybe there were piglins here at some point or something like that, and they came up from the nether and they built a castle back in the day, something like that. Who knows? And speaking of the nether, I think we're going to do something else over here, and that is build a portal. We are actually as far from the storage facility as the storage facility is from our other portal. So it would just make sense to have another portal on this side of the world so that we can kind of hop and skip our way across. But we'll get into all that later. The last thing I want to do is I want to name this village, and I want to come up with a banner for it. So I'm thinking for one village, because we were talking about blackstone and piglins, we might use this snout banner. And then for Mingus, let's go ahead and use the globe pattern. Something else I think I can do is I do a brick and a paper. Yes, you can make a field masoned banner pattern. Grab some black, some white, maybe some yellow. And let's just play a little bit. So I'm thinking in the mesa, we're going to do an orange banner. And let's see, what does the field mason look like? Oh, it is literally bricks. That's very interesting. So if we did white instead. What about yellow? That's a little more usable. Let's go and start with this. And then take that out. Do maybe an orange border. Okay. Boy, that snout just really sticks out. What if, instead of signifying piglins, we signify a portal? That's kind of cool. I like that. And then for Marsalis, I want to do lime green. I think that has a nice swampy quality to it. The globe looks like that. What if we did the globe in green? That's nice and subtle. I like that. What does it look like in brown? Looks pretty swampy as well. I like that. Let's do this. Let's first do green. We'll do some stripes like that. Haven't done anything like that yet. And then we could do a brown globe on top of it. Yeah, that looks very swampy to me. So we've got our banner designs. Let me make a few duplicates and then we'll run over to the villages and put them up. Pop one of them here. Here. Nice. I think that looks great. I brought a few pieces of deep slate over just to kind of show you what I was talking about. And you can see I just kind of went along the edge here, and you can see it really breaks up this foreground and background. So I might continue doing that and just sort of replace a few of the bits of blackstone to kind of help differentiate that. I think it looks really good. So last thing we're going to do over here today is name this place. Let's go ahead and reveal the map. Wow, there's a big black blob on the map there. So we're going to name this village Monk. We're going to put a banner, tap the map on it. Nice. I'll cover that up. Perfect. We're just going to boat on down to Marsalis, and that way we don't have to worry about our horse or any of that stuff. Back in the swamp again. Nice. It has been a minute since we've been down here. You know, while we're down here, let's do a little preparation for next episode. Make a bed. Make a couple doors. Grab a lantern. One thing I want to do next episode is I want to figure out the measurements for our Mesa portal and start to set that up. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to dig a mine down by the swamp. If we're going to build a road all the way down to the swamp, we're going to need a lot of materials, and it doesn't really make sense to drag it all the way from our existing mine. It would make much more sense to build a mine down here and gather materials. Right here, we're pretty much in line with that big ridge. And I think I kind of want to dig into the side of it. So this is going to be the swamp mine, and we will bring the road by here and then use the materials we dig out of here to build the road down to Marsalis. I think we primarily want to go down to stone level. I don't think we need to go all the way down to deep slate, but, you know, we'll see how it goes. Between episodes, I'm going to get organized and do a little bit of measuring in the nether, and then next episode, we will dig out a mine for the swamp, and we will build a portal in the mesa. And that's where I'm going to wrap this one up. If you want to be like these folks and help support the channel, click join below or scan the code on the screen. And thanks for watching. I hope you had fun. Please like and subscribe if you want to follow along on the adventure, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.